The Oklahoma Commission on the Status of Women welcomes you to the panel discussion on human trafficking in Oklahoma. Now, our fourth panelist, Dr. Lori Basey, is president and co-founder of No Boundaries International.
As an occupational therapist specializing in complex trauma, I learned years ago that if I was appropriately trained and could utilize my skills and others could use their skills, we could literally impact the lives of individuals, community, and social justice issues like what we're talking about today. And so what I see across the board is that the faith-based community, people want to get involved and they want to make a difference, but they desperately need to know how to do this safely and appropriately without causing further harm. And that's what we have been doing here at No Boundaries International. And so for over 15 years now, we've been equipping faith-based communities to reach out in love to those who were suffering. And so initially on the international scene, it was interesting that we were working with rebels, orphans, or child soldiers, or refugees and sex slaves, eventually included human trafficking victims and prostituted women, with the homeless and the poor and those who were at risk. But as time went on, we developed proven strategies that were effective in mobilizing and equipping people and resources. And so out of working with thousands of people, we developed a whole person strategy. And I like to refer to it as our biopsychosocial spiritual model, which is a strategy for us to safely get involved in crisis areas with people. On top of that, as a therapist, we've put trauma-informed care programming that combines, for us being faith-based, biblical principles with neuroscience and the information of the mind-body connection. And so these combined principles then have been utilized as we reach out in love to people who need either help or who are in the process of getting well, or eventually those who want to come and give back as we come alongside and help them. And so the interesting progression is we started internationally, it was just a few of us, and we never dreamed that we would have a base consistently of full-time volunteers. And that base grew from just a few to 15 team members in the Oklahoma City metro area, as well as in several other states. I'll never forget, it was in 2011. We were in between international trips, and we were challenged to go and just check out this particular zip code area in the Oklahoma City metro. And this particular area was known as the $20 street, known for prostitution and occasional human trafficking, as well as at-risk children and youth, the homeless, place where just a lot of illegal activities were happening and poverty existed. We mobilized our teams that typically went internationally, and we went down and did a needs assessment in the community and on the streets. As our outreach teams went out, we encountered all kinds of social issues, and occasionally including human trafficking. And so from the needs that we encountered, we started to implement solutions. So what would it look like if we could meet these particular needs? And we were able to do things in partnerships such as mobile medical clinics, and the mobile dental unit came out. We did street outreach and homeless outreach. We have a certified food truck that we take into runaway camps and out on the streets and the highways and byways. We realized soon that basic needs needed to be provided, whether they were hygiene products or clothing or emergency food. We started doing activities for children and youth in the neighborhood, as well as block parties. And then I just want to really celebrate even our certified organizations and law enforcement and all of the others that are truly making this happen, because we have to have referrals for really good services. In the midst of all of that, the question was, could the community get involved? Could the faith-based community get involved and do that really well? And so every year we're training hundreds to effectively reach out in love to those who are hurting as we utilize those intervention strategies to meet biological basic needs or psychological needs, especially social needs and the spiritual needs, we've encountered incredible things. Really fascinating things have been happening. Those individuals that we encounter desire our help as we wrap around them in the community, as a community, as they get in the process of getting help and getting well, and then eventually giving back. Time progressed, actually our team members have moved, some of our team members have moved into that community where they've learned to live and learn and love. And we have housing for interns and those that we're training. And we also have a community center right off of the $20 street or the trafficking track or the prostitution track. Our specialty, or the areas that we really facilitate, is outreach. And so that means going out into the areas and making contact by providing basic needs. And really our end goal is just transformational relationships. What would it look like if we come alongside someone and celebrate their value and their existence and just say, what are you created for? And as they tell us it's horrible and things have always gone bad, if we just introduce and pose that question, but what if that doesn't have to be, or the continuation of that doesn't have to happen? And so I'd love to just share with you a story about somebody that our team encountered several years ago that we've been through the whole process with, and I'll refer to her as Kay. It was a Christmas time, and we're continuously giving away hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of product. And our team compiled backpacks that were full of all kinds of really neat Christmas things. And we went out on the streets and we encountered not only those who were being prostituted or the kids or the homeless, but occasionally there's a human trafficking person. And in the middle of all of that, we gave this beautiful woman a backpack. And our team remembers her because she just broke down and started crying. And as they talked to her while she was out on this particular street, she talked about that would be the only present that she was going to get for Christmas, and it meant so much for her. Well, fast forward several years, and we were contacted by her again. She called one of our locations, and she said that she was actually being trafficked the night that we met her. She'd been trafficked for over 12 years. And in the midst of all of that, her pimp had forced her to recruit other underage females. She was actually arrested. Her pimp was charged, and she was actually arrested and charged with human trafficking and as a human trafficker. And so she received probation. She was under the guidance of law enforcement. And in the middle of all of that, she wanted to get her life back together. She had an ankle monitor and she just needed help. So she was able to obtain a felony-friendly apartment, a felony-friendly job, but she needed help with food and clothing. The only clothes that she had were the clothes that she had prostituted in and were arrested in, and literally was sleeping on a Glad bag full of those clothes, didn't have a mattress or hygiene. And so we were able to wrap around her and establish a faith-based community around her as she eventually received medical care and dental care and eyeglasses checks when she had her birthday. Her first birthday coming out of human trafficking. We were able to celebrate that. And what did that look like outside of the life? We worked with her in life skills as she also accessed the other beautiful programs through drug court and through her probation. And now as she's gone through the get help and the get well, she's in the give back stage, as she often likes to donate toys or clothing or be supportive of others that we're reaching out to. And so I think in closing, I just want to thank all of the amazing people that are in our state and in our communities. And recently I've been thinking about this word wonder. And I read this and I think about, what would the world be like if we would see the wonder in others? What's wonderful about them? What wonderful things were deposited in them? And from our standpoint, it isn't something that we get from them, but something that we give to them. It's not based on their behavior, but it's what we could see in them and what heaven sees. And so as we start to look at people like that with the potential, we acknowledge that wonder can ignite a spark of hope. And with that, we're seeing lives get better, whether it's human trafficking for us, or prostitution, or anxiety, depression, addiction, homelessness, abuse, or just this longing for something more. I believe that we in Oklahoma can have that wonder that will truly change things. So I'm excited to share what the faith-based community has been doing in regards to issues such as human trafficking in the Oklahoma City metro area. Thank you for letting me be a part of this.